Today we're gonna make the best tomato pasta sauce recipe. It is thick and a little bit chunky and just super rich from tomato paste and whole tomatoes and all the herbs. You're not gonna wanna miss this tomato sauce recipe. It is easy and you can make it in large batches so you can have tomato sauce anytime you need. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and click the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new and delicious recipe. Let's get into it. So, super easy. I literally make this pasta sauce at least once a week. I usually try to make large batches and freeze it, but sometimes you just need a lot of pasta sauce. So, first step, I usually, when I'm making this at home, I just kind of roll through the whole thing and I start add as I chop, and it's a beautiful thing. So, the first thing you're going to do is start by putting like about 3 tablespoons of oil in your pan. I'm just going to quickly chop this onion. I'm just going to do, kind of a medium dice, nothing crazy or fancy. I am going to turn this on to just kind of low. We want to sweat our onions, so we don't want them to cook too fast. I'm just kind of slicing this way, and then I'm going to slice back across like this. And then I'm going to slice back the other way. This one kind of just, the butt, you just, boop, boop. All right, so that's all we're gonna do. All right, and then we're gonna take this whole thing and we're gonna put it in our pot. It's a lot of onions. If you don't like onions in your sauce or a lot of onions, just, tape it down. No big deal. Because you know what I'm not into doing these days? Mincing garlic. My former self would absolutely murder me for doing this, but I don't have time for this stuff. So I am going to just go ahead and put my pre-minced garlic. Do get good high quality garlic, because some of it does smell a little weird, but I found this brand great. And that's it. We didn't have to do anything. You want to make sure that you have enough oil to cover, coat all of your onions and your garlic and everything, because if you don't, then it's going to burn. And we don't want it to burn. We want it to sweat. So we want to release all of the moisture from the onions, kind of cook that out, start to, get the fragrance of the onions without the raw bite. And if you see it's starting to look a little dry in the bottom of your pot, go ahead and add more oil. So they're starting to soften a little bit. They're starting to kind of become more transparent, which is exactly what we want. And, we're just going to let them do that completely. You don't want to rush this part, because then you might get brown bits, which isn't the end of the world, but, in a pasta sauce, it's not desirable. All right, so our onions are translucent. They've really softened a lot, and you can see that a lot of the moisture that was in there before is now gone. And so that's wonderful. That's where you want to be. And then we're going to add literally everything else right now. So the first step is we're going to add our canned whole tomatoes. I like to use Pomodoro. They have the best flavor, but you can get any crushed or canned tomatoes would be great. So these are whole, obviously. I think it produces a better flavor, but crushed is totally fine. Now, the only thing is that we have to crush these by hand. So I'm going to reach down in there, and I'm just going to squeeze it. Yep. Just give it a good squish. Now be careful, because they like to squirt tomato juice everywhere. So I kind of poke it with my thumb a little bit first, and then I moosh it. At least it wasn't on me. Okay, go ahead, just wash my hand. All right, and then we're gonna add our tomato paste. I use 2 whole cans. I love tomato paste for that concentrated tomato flavor. It's also just a little bit sweet because it's concentrated all of the just rich meatiness of the tomato, and it's just wonderful. So tomato paste is my jam. If you buy the big ones and you have a bit already frozen, you just pop the frozen part in here and just let it go. All right, and we're gonna do a bay leaf. Just one bay leaf if I can get it out. Boop. And then I've got basil and oregano. My original recipe, this is an old recipe from the blog, OG, calls to dice all of this or to chop all of it, but like no one has time for that. And also it's not necessary. So just go ahead and just as much basil as you like, just go ahead and get that in the pot. And then the last ingredient is, before we salt and pepper later, is chicken stock. So we're gonna go ahead and pour in, this is fresh, this is homemade chicken stock that I got from my freezer. And we're running up on the top of this. Okay, we're gonna push the boundaries today. I'm just trying to kind of mix in that tomato paste, which I should have done before I added the immense amount of stock, but you know, I am who I am, and whoops. All right. We are gonna take this monster, beast of a being, and put her on the stove. We are going to bring it to a boil, and then we're gonna lower it and simmer it. We are gonna cook it with the top off for, you know, at least an hour to try and kind of, you know, bring it down, meld those flavors. And you know, if you don't have chicken stock or you don't have that much, you can omit it. And this is just as amazing without the chicken stock, but it does add a bit of body and a bit of richness, and kind of like, you know, also bumps up the amount of stock you get, or sauce you get. So that's also sometimes nice. I'm gonna take, wow, hefty. You can be back here. And I'm gonna put this on high, and I'm gonna bring it up to a boil, and then I'm gonna bring it down to a simmer, and she's gonna simmer for hours, at least 2. To be honest, when I make this for dinner the same night, I usually only simmer it, it's about an hour. I just prep the rest of dinner, and it's good. Usually when I'm kind of rushing the time on it, I do not use the stock, which is more like my 15-minute pasta sauce up there. So, choices. Now we wait. So I've been cooking the sauce about 2 hours without the top on. You can see that it is reduced considerably, and it's thickened a lot, and it's, you know, as soon as it cools, it will thicken even more. So the only thing we need to, I seasoned a little bit with salt earlier, but we just need to taste it and make sure that we like the seasoning of salt. I don't like to add the salt too early. I like to let the flavors meld, and then I add a little bit of salt at a time because you don't want an overly seasoned pasta sauce. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab a spoon, and just grab a little bit here, try not to burn my mouth. I think I need just a little bit more salt. Not a ton, just a little, like two, 3 finger pinches. Okay, stir that in. If you wanted to add hot pepper, black pepper, you could do that as well. So we're just gonna let this simmer just for a little bit longer, let that salt meld and integrate, and then it's done and ready to use. All right, our pasta sauce is complete. She is thick and reduced and really gorgeous. And honestly, you can cool this down and freeze it, or I'm gonna freeze about half of it and then use about half of it. And you can then have pasta sauce whenever you need it. You can also just use it right now. Drop your meatballs in, get those cooking, and then dinner's ready. Oh, I guess one other thing I want to say is we're going to actually remove all of these large herbs. So I will, as it cools, I'm going to pick those out. It doesn't hurt it to leave them in there, but nobody wants a large chunk of basil with their pasta. So I like to just go ahead and pick those out before I cool it, or as it's cooling, and that way you don't have to do it later. Okay, time to try. I really just want to like dip my spoon in there, but it's so hot down there, it's not allowed.
It has like such a deep body from that tomato paste, like a little sweetness, all the garlic and the onions and just all the herbs that we put in there. Nothing is overpowering. It's just this beautiful, rich pasta sauce. I mean, she is ready for anything you could possibly want her for. Oh, I see eggplant parm in my future. I see all the meatballs. I see all the pasta and meat sauce. I see, oh my gosh. I see all the things. Honestly, I could eat it like soup. People eat gazpacho, it's like the same thing, no?